during Xi Jinping's visit in San Francisco, the NFSC, the New Federal State of China, we are the largest protester group, very peaceful, lawful protest, exercising our constitutional right. And you know what? There's none of the mainstream media giving us any single coverage.
Wait a second. What about local news? Did the local news cover you?
No, because then we got our sources inside China that Xi Jinping sent maybe a dozen CCP officials, gathered all the mainstream media prior to his arrival and told them no mainstream media should mention anything or provide any photo about the NFSC's protesters. So that's one of the Xi Jinping's demands. And apparently all the mainstream media complied with that. And that's why if you Google NFSC, APEC, protesters, you're not gonna find us. But we were there, and we're very thankful that we are on the Real American Voice, and we're on Steve K. Bannon's War Room, and we're on many other conservative media news outlets.
Well, think about it. Real America's Voice didn't back down from covering you, and that was so important. I will tell you this, as a guy who worked in mainstream media at a local level, if I would have gotten word that the Chinese Communist Party came and said, do not mention, the first story I do is to go cover you and tell you that Xi Jinping said, don't cover them. Why? That's a fabulous news story. And the fact that local news would fall to the pressure of Xi Jinping. I understand NBC, ABC, and the likes of CNN, because we know they're leftist lunatics on board with the ways of communism. But local news is so disappointing that they would fall to it. I mean, maybe because it's San Francisco, there's a lot of Chinese money in San Francisco, and maybe Chinese money that's pushing advertising on those stations. That may be one of the reasons. But to me, Nicole, that is so upsetting that you got no coverage. And I saw the amount of people you had out there. It's criminal.
It is. And you know what? If I were a journalist, be it national or local television, my first job is to expose the CCP officials who are demanding us not to cover. That is a big story. But none of those mainstream media did the right thing. And instead, they kowtowed to CCP. And so I was watching the cameraman and the photographer. They were there. They were covering other stuff, other protesters against the APEC or, pro-Hamas protests. They're giving their airtime and coverage to those people.
Unbelievable. Had to have been coordinated. I've got to believe there was other local media there. There had to be Los Angeles local media going up there. It was a big meeting. For no one to cover you, this is the downfall of America. The American media was supposed to be a good thing early on. It's supposed to hold elected leaders accountable. And no longer does the mainstream media do that. It is state-run media today. And that's unfortunate, which is why we need outlets like this, podcasts like this, where we're independent voices with no oversight and nobody trying to squash us except on social media, which we know happens, and outlets like Real America's Voice as well, and people willing to come on and talk about it like you guys in the New Federal State of China.